This time at the Quick Speed Shop, I'd like to put this new water pump on the Super Hurricane 6 in my Willys pickup, but I got some issues. I got a broken off bolt in the block. I got to just try to get that out. Hopefully I can get this water pump put back on and get this thing back up and going again. I'm a professional, don't try this at home. Alright, what's going on, guys? Today you can see I got the hood up on the Willys Jeep. That must mean we're going to do some mechanical work here. Let's take a look at the engine and see what I'm talking about. So you've never seen under the hood of one of these things before. This is a 1959 and it has the 6-cylinder flathead 6. This is the Super Hurricane 6-cylinder engine here, made in Toledo, Ohio. Anyways, as far as I know, it's the original engine's never been rebuilt, and my dad's owned this for the last 40. My dad owned this for the last 40 years. Never been rebuilt, so I'm pretty sure this is all original. In 1993, I did put a timing chain and a water pump on it when I was a teenager. The thing quit running. We thought maybe the timing chain broke because the distributor drive wasn't spinning, and it actually turned out to be the drive on the bottom of the distributor is broken. So we fixed that. In the meantime, I'd put a new timing chain and water pump on it. But now, all these years later, the water pump is clunking. The bearings are loose back in here, so I want to put a new water pump on this. As you can see, this has an alternator on it. My dad switched it over to an alternator years ago, probably about 25 years ago. Still got the original voltage regulator here from the generator, which he just jumpered out and used it as a terminal block to make the positive wire hookup. This is just like a GM alternator from the 70s or 80s. You can see here I've got a Excel coil I put on here. The original coil, when I got this back going again, I had to do some ignition work, so I just threw this used coil I had on here. A new bright yellow plug wire, coil wire, which should be black. I put new plugs and spark plug wires in it from Kaiser Willys, and for whatever reason, I can't remember why I didn't use the coil wire. I think it was too short or didn't have the right end on it, so I ended up using this bigger wire for the coil. It's got the original carburetor, original Aerobath air cleaner. I removed the heater box when I did the like semi-restoration here when I fixed the cab a few years ago. I want to make a plate to cover up the hole in that, and I just looped the heater hoses around. But what I want to do here is take this water pump off and get a new one on it here, because when it's running, the bearings flutter and rattle, and it makes like a rattling noise, and eventually it'll leak. So I did buy another water pump a couple of years ago. I was going to change it, I just never did. I got it from Kaiser Willys. It's an Onyx Ada, or how you pronounce that. Obviously, it looks like apparently it's made in China, which I didn't realize, but what are you going to do? So, got the new water pump here in the bag, and a new gasket. So I'm going to drain the radiator down, and then get that all drained down. I'll unbolt the fan, unbolt the alternator, take the belts off, and just a few bolts. The water pump should come right off, no problem. Slap it back up on there, and should have this thing fixed back up, throw the coolant back in it, and it'll be ready to go. So it should be a pretty easy job today. First thing I want to do before I tear this apart is I want to throw some paint on this new water pump so it's dry, so when I go to install it, I'll have some paint on it. Here's a tip: if you're ever painting stuff, save a couple of your old aerosol can tops. You can use them for good spacers. You don't care if they get sprayed on or not. They work great. Now this is hilarious. I wanted to put some engine paint on this. I looked, and my engine paint supply is way down. I had some old Ford blue, but I didn't really want to put Ford blue on this engine. That should be industrial gray. But I didn't have any industrial gray engine paint left, or old Ford engine gray, which would have been close enough. So I got out some aluminum, and I painted this thing, and look at this! It's like chrome! It's crazy. That's crazy bright aluminum. And this is the best thing. I used this engine paint I had, Exactacoat engine enamel, high heat aluminum, super shiny. But I don't know how old this paint is. Is that a date on the bottom? I don't know how old this is, but check it out. It's got a steel lid to it. The top of the can is steel. So I have no idea how old this is or where it came from. I ended up with it probably from an auction or somewhere. But it's super, super old. It's full of hydrocarbons. This is the good stuff. Let's see where it came from here. Something tops, maybe? $1.28, but... High heat aluminum paint, still sprayed like mint, went on their gangbusters. Now I got that super shiny aluminum look. Good to go. Mount that up on there, but I thought that was super awesome finding a can of paint that's probably like 40, 50 years old. That's crazy. Okay, so we're going to dive right into it here. First thing I do is get the fan off. I've already started taking a couple of bolts out. Luckily, I can get a ratchet up in there. So luckily, you can get your hand down in here in front of the radiator and the fan. Just kind of get up in here. Where's the last bolt? Right there. Now I'm doing this before I take the fan belt loose, so I need the tension to help hold the fan out. What? Come on now. Last one's tight like a tiger. Well, this didn't come out good. I ended up, the adjuster bolt for the alternator snapped right off here. How do you like that? So let me go down and get this lower bolt loose, and I have to pull that off and drill this out or do something. Wasn't looking forward to that happening. Get a spacer on here. 2 spacers, apparently. Alrighty then. Okay, so I got the radiator drain in here. I stuck a piece of hose on the drain cock. And I got it draining out here. Oh, I got the alternator bracket removed, and we're ready. As soon as this drains down, take the heater hose off over here, and then just take the bolts out, and that should come right off the block, no problem. And I got to remove the low radiator hose on the other side and pop the water pump off. These are all 3/8 bolts. These Now this upper bolt's the one that's giving me trouble. I've just been working it a little bit of time back and forth. I got to turn about a quarter turn. Now hopefully it don't snap off, because that would be really bad. So I'm just going to keep working it. Keep working it. Uh-oh. That didn't feel good. Oh, no. Not good. Oh, nuts. Not good, bro. Not good. It's sticking out of the block a little bit. Dang it. There we go. And you can see the front of the block here. You can see the water passage into the, I got some grunge there. Water passage into the head. They're actually into the actual block itself. I'm sorry, the head, this says the flat head here, so this is the block. But here's that bolt that's snapped off. Now I'm gonna, oh man, I'm gonna have to deal with that. That just turned this job into a disaster. The thing I'm gonna try to do is clean this up, thread a nut onto it and weld it. And the heat will heat up the stud, and hopefully it'll back out of the head here. I'm also give it a couple of raps to the hammer to see if it'll loosen up a little bit. But this is, at least it broke off and is sticking out some, so I don't have to drill it and tap the block. But we're going to have to fight with this now. Got the bolt here. I've got it. First of all, I took the hammer and I tapped on it a whole bunch of times to try to like loosen the rust up, which mushroomed it over. So I filed it down here, and I've got a nut. Where did my nut go? Got a 7/16 nut. I'm going to slip over the whole thing like this. I know what goes on there. Get on there. You tap. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to weld the end of this all solid, get it red hot. Then hopefully I can put a socket on here and spin this out while it's still warm. That's the plan anyways. Okay, well, it's hot. Well, nuts. Snapped her on off again. Give her another go here. Hopefully I can get in there. Come on, please work. Man, that is in there. Oh, come on. I'm going to take this, I'm going to bend this up, I'm going to weld this on here. Maybe I can plug weld through that and maybe put some pliers on this and turn it. It's got to be coming out. It's got to get out of there eventually. And hopefully I can use this bar to crank on this. And spin it. Working. By George, it's working. Man, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Come on, baby. Holy smokes, I can't believe that worked. I've heard, my friend told me that trick, and I've never done it there. I've tried the nuts before, and you see how the nut broke off, but that flat plate worked awesome. It's like 2 threads are coming out. I'm going to take a picture for the Instagrams. This is awesome, and that is a great trick to get a flush broken off bolt out. That worked awesome. I can't believe it. It really saved the day here. Whew! Really saved the day. You guys learned something today, and I learned something today. That is an awesome trick. So I'm going to back that out and clean up the front of the block and get ready for the new water pump installation. Bam. Okay, we're ready to go back together here. I did a little rattle can resto of the front of the engine. Just put that engine enamel on here, cleaned it up, got all the grease off, and kind of wire wheeled it and threw a little bit of color on there. Did my oil cap, did the oil filter there. So over here I got the water pump ready to go. I got the gasket glued on here. What I'm using is Permatex high-tech gasket shellac. This is like a paint-on goo. And then for the bolt that goes into the water jacket, I use this Permatex thread sealant with Teflon. I got 5 new bolts here. Just pulled them out of my bolt bin, 3/8 bolts. I put anti-seize on the 4 that just go into the block. The one that goes in the block, I put the thread sealant on. And then here's that Duplicolor engine paint I painted new Ford gray. So the gasket, I'm just going to take and put a little bit of shellac on here. This, I like to use all this on all my paper gaskets. It seals up good. Just kind of liberally brush it on here. And it works great. Seals these paper gaskets up real good. A little bit of Gasco tack. I call it Gasco tack. Just kind of shmooey it on all over the place. I'm just going to snug her down here equally and then tighten all the bolts up just by hand. But this should seal her up right nice here. There we go. She's all buttoned up and filled up. Got water back in the antifreeze, or got water back in the radiator. She's not leaking. I got the front of the block restored here with the paint. Looks good. Got the alternator back on. Put some dielectric grease on the fittings. Put some new bolts in here. Got a stainless steel bolt here for the where it touches the aluminum. I got a new grade 8 bolt here, so all that's good. We're here on the passenger side. You can see I got the heater hose back on. I went and I put a bracket here to hold it to the inner fender. Got the hose back on. Everything's painted up good and looks good. So the water pump replacement on the Willys Jeep is done. Bam. So bam, that's it. The old Willys Jeep is fixed up, ready to go back down to the pole barn for winter storage. And next time, I think we're going to bust out the 40 Mercury 2-door sedan. I'm going to get that up in here. First, I'm going to clean up the shop, but we'll get the Mercury up here and start putting together a game plan of what I got to do to redo the rear suspension on that car. But in the meantime, got the sucker fixed. It was a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be with that broken off bolt. And hopefully you learned something there with making that little tool to get the bolt out. That actually worked pretty good. I was pretty happy with that. So the Jeep's ready to get on out of here. Got the windshield in, got everything I wanted to do done to it this winter. So she's going back down to storage, and we'll work on that Mercury next. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Hey, tell a friend. Let's try to get the channel up over to like 6,000 subscribers this year in 2021. Share it on whatever social, whatever you got there, the social stuff, and let's see if I can get up to 6,000. So I appreciate everybody watching. We'll see you in 2021, and hopefully it'll be a good year.